The most wonderful time of the year is upon us, and no, I'm not talking about Christmas, because all Santa Claus is to me is a fat fuck who exploits little people for money. Go make your own wooden horse, you lazy turd. But anyway, I'm of course talking about the UCL round of 16, and these are the teams that have the privilege of competing in this part of the competition, and today I'm going to be putting them all into a tier list. We have 4 tiers in today's video. Happy to be here. Pretty self-explanatory. Teams that I think are just happy to make it this far. Could surprise. Teams that could surprise. Very dangerous teams that I don't expect to make the final. But if they did, I would not be shocked. And I expect them to make the semifinal. And then we have Munich bound. This tier will consist of 2 teams, obviously, because the final can only have 2 teams in it. And these are the 2 teams that I believe are going to play in the final, of course, in Munich. And yeah, man, that's about it for the intro. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And yeah, let's get into it. First up, we have Club Brugge or Club Rouge. I don't know how you pronounce it exactly, so I apologize for this video. I'm just going to call them Club Rouge, and they to me are going to go in happy to be here. That's really what they are. Club Rouge is just happy to be here. Everybody associated with this club, their fans, their players, their manager, everybody, they should be really, really proud of what they have accomplished so far in the UCL, but unfortunately for me, it ends here. It ends here for them, man. They're not going to make it past the round of 16. Now, again, they should be really proud of what they have accomplished so far. They made it further in the UCL than Man City. They had a decent league phase, and in the playoff round, they knocked off Atalanta, the defending Europa League champions, with a really, really good manager and a great coach. And that second leg away from home put 3 past them in the first half. Again, in Atalanta, a lot of people thought, including myself, they could be a dark horse in this competition. And Club Brugge knocked them out against all odds. But again, for me, I'm not going to be edgy and put them in Munich bound, bro. This team has no chance of making a final. To me, they have no chance of making it past the round of 16. If this was the old format where it was like a lottery, you didn't have set opponents, everybody would be licking their chops to play Club Brugge. They're easy pickings for basically any big team here, man. So for me, Club Brugge are going to go in happy to be here. Again, no disrespect to their fans or their players or anything like that, because I really do admire what they have done so far in the competition, and nobody had them making it this far when it started. But again, for me, it just ends here. They're just going to be happy to be here. Next up, we have Leo. I know everybody's going to get mad at me for this one, but they are going to go in happy to be here. This team, to me, when I say happy to be here, I'm putting teams in that category that have no chance, in my opinion, of making it past the quarterfinals, okay? So Leo, to me, has no chance of making it past the quarterfinals. They have no chance of making a semifinal, and definitely have no chance of making a final. Again, this could come back to bite me in the ass. Maybe the Leo social media team clips this once they win the UCL, and I'm forever looked at as a clown. I don't think that's going to happen, okay? Leo, they've had a good run. They had a good run in the UCL. They finished in the top 8, beat Real Madrid, obviously, in their stadium. That's amazing. In Ligue 1, they're sitting 20 points behind PSG, but again, who really gives a fuck about Ligue 1? Anyway, my point is, Leo, I'm happy for them to make it this far, but they're just happy to be here. They have no chance of actually making any real noise in this competition, in my opinion, at least. Next up, we have Atletico Madrid. Very dangerous. I expect this team to make the semifinal. Apart from Barca and Madrid, the team I watch the most is Atletico Madrid. And this season, man, they are legit. This is a legit team. Llorente, Simeone, his son, not the dad. The son is playing. Juliano is playing amazing. Antoine Griezmann, Sorloth is their top goal scorer in La Liga with 9 goals. You have obviously Julian Alvarez, Rodrigo de Paul. This team is legit, and their manager, Cholo Simeone, is a guy who we know has pedigree in this competition. He's made 2 finals before, lost both of them, but he lost to Real Madrid. No shame in that. 1 on penalties and 1 on extra time. No shame in that. And Cholo Simeone always has a trick up his sleeve in this competition. So for me, Atletico Madrid are very dangerous. Now, their potential round of 16 opponents, I'm pretty sure it's either Leverkusen or Madrid. I think it's one of those 2. I'm not sure. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I know the tie's taking place tomorrow, so once that happens, I'll make my prediction video when the matchups are set. But anyway, I think this team can make a semifinal. I think that they could beat either of those teams. I really do believe that. So for me, they're going to go in very dangerous. I expect this team to make the semifinal, and if they made the final, if they got all the way to Munich, I would not be shocked at all. Next up, we have Arsenal. This might be controversial. I'm going to put Arsenal in could surprise. I'm just going to put them in could surprise, because I guess I owe them that respect. I could have easily put them in happy to be here. And I don't know why I'm saying I owe them that respect, because Arsenal has never accomplished anything in European football, but whatever. Their team is good enough, and they have a manager that's decent, so I'm going to put them in could surprise. But I don't see this team making it past the quarterfinals of this competition. I know they had a decent league phase. They finished tied on points with Barca, actually, in the league phase. But still, man, to me, Arsenal are a team that they don't have that much individual star quality, and when you take away Bukayo Saka, who's going to be out until late April, and you have all these other injuries like Gabriel Jesus, like Kai Havertz, even Tomiyasu's hurt, I don't see this team. Martinelli's hurt as well. I don't see this team, even though Martinelli's been shit this whole season. But anyway, I don't see this team actually making it far. They're also in a pseudo-title race with Liverpool, even though Liverpool are pretty far ahead. But still, if Liverpool drop points against Man City this weekend and Arsenal win, it's going to be a real title race, so that might consume a lot of their energy. But Arsenal, to me, are a team who I just don't trust their manager, bro. I don't trust Mikel Arteta in a knockout style tournament. I know he won the FA Cup in his first season at Arsenal, I'm pretty sure, but I just don't trust this guy to actually, I don't see him out coaching any of the other managers that I think have a chance of making it to the semifinals or the finals. So for me, when I look at Arsenal, you're missing Bukayo Saka, who is your star boy, who I rate very highly, and I think you're going to need in games like in the UCL. Defensively, they're very sound. I'm not going to deny that, but still, I don't see Arsenal. I don't see Arsenal making it. I don't see Arsenal being a very dangerous team. Again, that might be controversial, but it's just my opinion. And if you disagree, let me know in the comment section down below. Next up, we have Aston Villa. Aston Villa and Arsenal are going to be in the same tier. Despite the fact that Aston Villa is sitting 7 points behind Arsenal in the league, to me, they're in the same tier in the UCL. And you want to know why? Because Aston Villa has something that Arsenal doesn't, and that is a manager that's proven it at the European level. Good evening, Unai Emery. That is the one reason why I'm putting Aston Villa in good surprise. Unai Emery is that guy. He's that fucking guy. Put respect on his name. One of my favorite managers of all time. Criminally underrated. A guy who has trophies and who has pedigree and who has cachet and who has clout when it comes to European football. A multiple-time Europa League winner. The greatest Europa League manager of all time, in my opinion. And that's not even for debate, actually. And also a guy who, if you remember a couple years back, with Villarreal, made the semifinals of the UCL and was up against Liverpool on aggregate. Okay? That's Unai Emery. That's what he can do. What has Mikel Arteta ever done in Europe? What has he done? He's coached one season in Europe and got knocked out by a mediocre Bayern team after Arsenal were thoroughly outplayed through two legs. This guy, Unai Emery, he knows what it's like to actually get shit done in Europe. So for that reason, I'm putting him there. And now, I also think Aston Villa have a decent team. They qualified in the top 8 for a reason. For a reason, they qualified in the top 8. Now, again, the Prem, they're not having their best season. They're sitting 9th, but who gives a fuck, man? This team, I really believe they have the same chance as Arsenal of making it to the semifinal. I really do believe that. That's why I'm putting them in the same tier, and I think Unai Emery is the key for this team. He is the key for this team, and honestly, I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for Villa, man. The loss of John Duran is huge because he's one of the best young strikers in Europe. But, he went to the Saudi League to chase the bag, and I can't blame him for that. You have Ollie Watkins, who's decent. You have a very, Ollie Watkins just pisses me off sometimes watching him play. But anyway, Ollie Watkins is a guy who we know can bag in the goals. He did last season, a ton of them. You have a decent midfield, a very physical midfield as well. And you have a good back line and a really, really good keeper, Emi Martinez, who if you get to a penalty shootout, we know that guy has an advantage over anybody. So for me, Aston Villa is going to go in good surprise. Unai Emery, get that shit done. Next up, we have Feyenoord. Happy to be here. Half of their squad is injured. Not really much else to it. Feyenoord is just happy to be here. That's all I have to say. Inter Milan. Very, very dangerous. This team, man. This team is good. They're a good team. And I think Inter Milan could definitely make the semifinals. I expect them to make the semifinal. When you have Inzaghi as your coach, who we've seen make a UCL final before, when you have that front line of Thuram and Lautaro, when you have that midfield of Çalhanoğlu, you have Mkhitaryan, you have Barella, when you have that back line, this team is legit. This team is legit. I could definitely see Inter making the UCL final again. They made it in Istanbul a couple years back and lost to Man City. Should have won that game in my opinion. And I could definitely see them making their way to Munich for the UCL final. This team has a great coach, a guy who we know when it comes to Europe and knockout style football, he's one of the best. And they have a really, really good team. One of the best squads in my opinion. One of the deeper squads in European football. So for me, Inter is going to go in very dangerous. Next up, we have Bayer Leverkusen, who to me are going to go in very dangerous. Bayer Leverkusen, man, they're a team who obviously don't have the same aura, if you want to call it that. I know that sounds corny, but it's true. They don't have the same aura that they had last season when they went nearly unbeaten the whole year. But they do still have one of the best managers in Europe, in my opinion, in Xabi Alonso. And they have a guy in Florian Wirtz who could take over a game. Florian Wirtz is in the form of his life right now, man. That guy is so insanely good. Better than Musiala, in my opinion. That might be a hot take, but he's better than Musiala. And that guy, he could take over a game single-handedly. We've seen him do it a couple times already this season, more than a couple times, a bunch of times this season. And I think their squad overall is really, really good. And again, when you have a coach like Xabi Alonso, I mean, there's a reason why this team qualified in the top 8. There's a team that nobody wants to see. Nobody wants to play against Bayer Leverkusen in any round. I mean, if you face off against them in the round of 16, you're going to be pissed. If you face them in the final, you're going to be pissed. Semi-final, quarterfinal, any round you could face Bayer Leverkusen, you're not going to feel really happy and confident about that because again, Xabi Alonso and those players, it's not a good mix. I mean, it's a very dangerous team. So for me, they're going to go in very dangerous. A team that I could definitely see making the semifinal, making it far in the competition. I don't really see them making the final, but again, if they did it, I would not be shocked. That's why they're in very dangerous. One of the two finalists from last year, Borussia Dortmund. They, to me, are going to go and happy to be here. I don't see Dortmund making any noise in this competition. I understand they beat Sporting, but I don't see them making any noise. Benfica, happy to be here also. And also, fuck it, let's put PSV in happy to be here as well. I'm sorry, man. Call me a casual all you want. These teams are not going to do shit, man. They're not going to do anything. Maybe one of them has like an Ajax 2019 run, but, I mean, who am I? Houdini? I can't even predict that, bro. Benfica... You know, they're a team that doesn't really scare me, but I saw Barca play them and I saw their tie against Monaco, and they have, you know what, Benfica is going to go and could surprise. You know what, I take that back. Benfica is going to go and could surprise, but PSV and Dortmund are saying there, these teams have no chance. Now, anyway, let's get back to the regular scheduled program. I'm sorry, because I was going to do that anyway, so might as well save you guys the time. I might as well save you guys the time and just put them there. Again, if you want to get mad and disagree, you can let me know in the comment section down below how much of a casual I am and how I only pick the big teams. It's the UCL, bro. Go look at the history of the winners of the UCL. It's usually the big teams. Go look at the history of the semifinalists. It's usually the big teams. That's how it works. Okay, I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I'm just going by what usually happens. Anyway, Barcelona, Munich bound. Call me biased all you want, suck my dick. I don't really care, man. Barcelona, to me, this season have been one of the best teams, one of the two best teams in Europe. And in the UCL, finished second in the table, had the best goal difference in the whole competition. They have the most informed player in the world in Rafinha right now, who in my opinion should win the Ballon d'Or if the season continues the way it is. They have Lamine Yamal, who has been off over the past couple games, but still Lamine Yamal. You have Robert Lewandowski, who's a UCL top goal scorer currently, and who's a guy who, even though he's old, has a lot of pedigree in this competition. You have Hansi Flick, who's won the Sextuple before and won the UCL, and you have just a great team overall. You have so much talent with youngsters and also veteran players. It's the perfect mix, man. If this Barcelona team does not make it far into the UCL, I honestly think it's over for us. I honestly think we're never gonna win the competition. This team is different to me. And again, people are going to say I'm being biased. Bro, what team to you has been better than Barca this season apart from... Like what other team has been better than Barca, man? Like, how is this... Like, I don't understand how people are going to say I'm biased for this, because it's going to happen. But I've watched every game Barca's played, and if you've watched Barca this year, you know they've been fucking outstanding. They had that rough patch in the middle of the season, not in the middle of the season, but in November and December. And apart from that, it's been domination through and through. So for me, Barca are going to go in Munich bound. I really believe this team can make the final. I really do believe that. Next up, we have Liverpool, Munich bound. I had this as my final a couple months back when I made this video, when the league phase was still going on, and to me, it's still going to be the final. These have been the two best teams in Europe, man. They're on opposite sides of the bracket, so obviously they can end up facing off in the final, first and second. Arne Slot has that team playing some beautiful football. They've been kind of shaky over the past couple weeks, but still, man, that team is fantastic. Defensively, they're so sound with that back line of Konate and Van Dijk and Alisson. You have Trent, and you have Andy Robertson, who's a little bit washed, but still... that midfield with Gravenberch, who's been insane this season. You have McAllister, who's been fantastic. You have Szoboszlai. You have Mohamed Salah, who right now to me, it's between him and Rafinha for the Ballon d'Or. I love Mohamed Salah, one of my favorite players of all time, and that guy, we know in this competition, he always shows up. Darwin Núñez had a rough game yesterday against Aston Villa, but still, I don't even know why I mentioned Darwin Núñez. He's not going to get time on this team anyway. But Gakpo, Jota, Luis Diaz as well. This team is legit, and I think Liverpool and Barcelona right now, if I had to pick the final, it would be this one. Again, this is probably not going to end up being the final because usually the two best teams never make the final. 2011, 2012 taught us that. Barca and Madrid to me were the two best teams in Europe, and neither of them made the final. They both lost in the semis. But again, if I had to pick a final right now, it would be between my team and Barca and Liverpool, who I believe have been the two best teams in Europe all season. And the table shows that because in the league phase, these were 1 and 2. So that's my final. Next up, we have PSG. I'm going to put PSG in could surprise. I'm not going to lie, Barca could potentially face off against PSG in the next round. And if they do, I will not be really, I'll be confident in Barca to win that, but I won't be happy. I'd rather face off against Benfica. Because PSG has been, they started off slow and Lucho was on the hot seat for a little bit there, but they've picked it up and they've played some beautiful football as of late. And Ousmane Dembélé is in the form of his life, and they just added Kvaratskhelia, and they have a team that I really do believe could do something. I really do believe PSG could do something. Last year they made the semifinal when nobody really predicted it. I think they could definitely make the semifinal this year. Now, am I predicting that? Absolutely not. I'm not predicting that whatsoever. But I think that they could definitely surprise some people because that manager is a trouble-winning manager who's done in this competition before. Now, Lucho has a lot more failures in the UCL, in my opinion, than he does successes. But still, he's won the UCL, and you have a team that, is playing some great football right now. They're playing some great football, and they have a guy who could just take over a game currently in Ousmane Dembélé. So for me, PSG, from what I've seen from them over the past couple, weeks and months, they're definitely going to go and could surprise. And also with PSG, bro, you got to remember, they play in Ligue 1, so they could take these games off and be fully rested for their ties. Most of these teams will have that advantage. Most of these teams are in title races, actually pushing to win their league, and PSG don't have that. They're going to win the league already. I think they're up by, they have a, well, let me check exactly what their point lead is, but I checked it recently. They're up, let me tell you right now. They have a 10-point lead already, man. They have a 10-point lead in Ligue 1. That league is fucking done. So PSG, again, that's an advantage that they have. But again. How many times have I said fucking again? But to reiterate, I don't think PSG are going to make the semifinal, but I would not be surprised if they make a deep run in the competition. Next up, we have Real Madrid, and they, to me, are, of course, going to go in very dangerous. You cannot have Real Madrid in any other tier besides very dangerous. I don't believe right now they're going to make the final. If you put a gun to my head and you said Madrid make the final, yes or no, I would say no. Because again, I think the two teams that are going to make the final are the ones that are in Munich bound. But Real Madrid, man, they're kind of finding their form at the right time. Now, I'm not saying that game against Man City was the end-all be-all and they're back to being the old Real Madrid. But when Kylian Mbappe plays the way that he's playing, and we know Kylian Mbappe gets up for the UCL. That's why he went to Real Madrid to win this competition, because he could have kept winning league titles in France. He went to Madrid for the UCL for that legacy. And when he's playing the way he's playing, we just saw him score a hat-trick against Man City in the UCL. You got to be scared. And that team obviously has the all-time winner in Ancelotti of the UCL. And you have a team who literally won the UCL less than 12 months back. And you have Jude Bellingham, who's a UCL winner. And you have Vinicius Jr., who's one of the best UCL players of this generation. You have Rodrigo, who always turns up in the UCL. And you have Luka Modric coming off the bench. And you have Courtois, who's one of the best keepers of this generation. And you have a great team. Madrid are never going to be below very dangerous in one of my UCL tiers, rankings, because it would be disrespectful. They've won 2 of the last 3. They're the all-time winners of the competition. And again, that manager and those players, they know how to get it done. They know how to get that shit done. And again, Mbappe may not know how to win the UCL, but trust me, Mbappe has played in big games in his life. He played in the World Cup final twice. And that to me is a bigger game than a UCL final or a UCL round of 16 game. So Mbappe, we know the pressure doesn't really get to him. So for me, Madrid are going to go in very dangerous. But again, I would not pick them to make the final as of right now. And lastly, we have Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich are just happy to be here. This team is embarrassing. They nearly lost to Celtic, man. They got outplayed by Celtic in that second leg. And they needed a last-minute winner by Alphonso Davies to go through to the round of 16. This team is being managed by a coach who got relegated last season. Vincent Kompany should not be managing Bayern Munich. Okay? How the fuck did he get that job? I could have applied for that job, and honestly, I would have been a better manager than Vincent Kompany. I'm sorry. I don't want to make it sound like I have this beef with Vincent Kompany, but what the fuck, man? Vincent Kompany's your coach. He got relegated last season. Your team is not good enough, okay? Jamal Musiala, for some reason, doesn't turn up for Bayern in these games. So for me, Bayern Munich are just going to be happy to be here. They're not same tier as Rouge and Feyenoord and Dortmund and PSV and Lille. They're just happy to be part of the UCL round of 16. And this team, we all know it. They're not gonna play the final in their home stadium like they did back in 2012 when they lost to Chelsea. This team is going to lose pretty soon here. They're not a good team, and they're going to be done. Those are my tiers. You guys let me know what you think down below. I know it's going to be probably very, very highly criticized by some people. They might think this is controversial, but again, I think I'm being pretty fair here. People might call me biased or whatever the fuck. I don't really care anymore. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I love every single one of you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.